Welcome to the New You Podcast. This podcast is for anybody who is struggling along your weight loss journey. I'm Antoine, a coach who specializes in fat loss, and I'm here to make this journey a lot more simple for you so you can reach your goal. Now, what we're going to be talking about today are fluctuations in weight, and this is one of the more frustrating things anybody can go through, especially if you're doing things right. And that's the situation we're going to talk about. Why did that number on the scale go up when you are following your plan? So the main reason for this is levels of hydration. And I don't want you to think that this is a bad thing. Water weight should not be a dirty word. It's a part of life. But it is because of water, while your weight can do wildly different things. So for example, if you weigh yourself first thing in the morning, you will typically be lighter than if you weigh yourself at night. And that's because overnight, you're probably sweating. You're going to the bathroom. You're not drinking if you're sleeping throughout the night, so you're going to be lighter. And then during the course of the day, you're having your hydration. So that is one of the main reasons. But it even gets a little deeper than that. So there's something else that hydration can do. And this comes down to something called glycogen. So glycogen is basically carbs when they get shuttled to your muscles to be used as energy. All right, all carbs are broken down into glycogen. This can be carbs like cake. It's also carbs like broccoli and fruit. And it's not a bad thing. This is our main source of energy. But what happens is that when that glycogen goes into your muscle, there's also water in it. And this will make you heavier. But I don't want you to think it's a bad thing. But this is why when you are weighing yourself, you really want to look at your weight over the course of longer time spans. You don't want to look at it, or you don't want to have the day by day be the marker of success, because you'll have different fluctuations in water weight. You'll have different amounts of glycogen in you depending on how many carbs you had that day. Now, there's something else that can also affect how much you weigh, and this comes down to digestion. So let's say you had a salad and you had a half a pound worth of salad and it didn't go through the full digestion process yet. When you stand on that scale, you're going to be a half a pound heavier. All right, so you also have to take that into consideration. So if you're somebody who digests foods a little bit slower, that day you had a big meal or the accumulation of mini meals could be the reason why when you got on that scale, it says you're 2 pounds heavier. All right, it's not that you gained 2 pounds of fat. It's not that you didn't make progress. That food in you just hasn't gone on the entire journey yet. So this is something that you really have to take into consideration. Now, there's something else that I'm going to talk about with food. Now, if you're somebody where that number on the scale can take you through highs and lows emotionally, then I do not recommend that you vary your diet too much. All right. Let's say one day you have a high fiber diet, another day you have a low fiber diet, another day you have high salt diet. These things are going to make you be heavier and lighter on different days, and it can drive you nuts. So if you are somebody who wants to see a more steady weight, then you want your diet to be, you want to eat similar things. All right. This doesn't mean that you eat the exact same thing every day, especially when it comes to veggies, because you could miss out on different micronutrients. But just know that if you are eating wildly different from day to day, even if those calories are the same, you will see different numbers on that scale. All right, so what have we gone over today? Main reasons for fluctuation when you're doing things right. Hydration is one of the big ones, how much water you have in you, right? Another reason, how much glycogen you have in your muscles. That's energy that your muscles are using. It's not a bad thing. Another thing we went over is the amount of food that's still in you that hasn't been fully digested yet. And then the other thing, having a varied diet. All right, so if you're having high fiber one day, low fiber another day, high salt another day, low salt another day, all these things will make that number on the scale go up and down. So what do we do about it? So one thing that I recommend is that instead of using just one weigh-in every week to, one day's weight every week to determine if you're on the right path, weigh yourself every day and then take the average of that number. If you use the average of every week, that will have less fluctuations in it than if you do it daily or if you did not take the average. That'll give you a better idea of what's going on. But I do want to take it a step further, because we don't want to completely go off of the number on that scale. Because if you're a beginner, all right, or somebody who hasn't trained in a long time, you could also be putting on muscle, which can be another reason why you aren't seeing the weight on the scale trend in the way you like. So this is when it's very handy to also go off of body measurements, all right, and not just your waist, all right? You wanna measure many different things. Measure your waist, measure your hips, measure your arms, measure your thighs. That way you'll know if change is happening. Something else you also wanna go off of is how your clothes are fitting. Are people complimenting you? As somebody said, are you working out? But you didn't tell them you were working out? That means you're on the right path, even though that scale is not saying what you want it to say. All right, so in a nutshell, the scale is going to bounce day to day. That's okay. You want to go off the average weight. Do that over longer spans of time. All right, look at what your weight does over the course of weeks. And let's say you've looked at your average over the course of maybe 2 to 3 weeks and you have seen no change. That means it's time to make a change in your plan, whether that's dropping your calories, increasing your cardio, adding an extra workout, all right? This is how you can get things moving in the pathway that you like. And remember, you are not that number on the scale, so don't self-identify with it. And that is it for today's podcast. So if you need help with coaching, you can find me at Antoine D. Lindsay on Facebook. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram at _Modern Sapien.